Roddy Doyle's The Commitments, published in 1987, unfolds primarily through spirited dialogues as it chronicles the inception, modest ascent, and eventual downfall of a band in 1980s Dublin with aspirations of bringing soul music to the Irish scene. Outspan and Derek approach the local music enthusiast, Jimmy Rabbitte, renowned for his audiophile expertise, with a proposal to manage their fledgling band, and. The band has barely existed for 3 days, and the decision catches their third member, Ray, unaware as he remains locked in the bathroom. Their limited musical knowledge has already sparked disagreements over the band's musical direction, with Outspan and Derek expressing disdain for Ray's preferences. Jimmy, intrigued by the challenge, willingly takes on the role of shaping them into a cohesive band. He advises them to ditch their attempts at covering art school songs, and instead focus on the fundamental themes of sex and politics. Jimmy firmly believes that they should immerse themselves in what he deems soul music. When the formal request to become their manager comes, Jimmy accepts. His first act is to part ways with Ray, and the second is to rechristen the group as The Commitments, adhering to his belief that all great band names must start with the. Jimmy embarks on assembling the band, welcoming Deco, a local figure, as the lead vocalist. During a band meeting where Deco is introduced to Outspan and Derek, Jimmy lays out his vision, emphasizing the need to recruit more instrumentalists such as drummers, saxophonists, trumpeters, and keyboardists. Jimmy has already placed an ad in the newspaper and requires the band members to contribute toward the expenses. With determination, Jimmy expands the band by bringing in James Clifford as the keyboardist, enlisting Dean Fay for saxophone duties, and adding Billy Mooney as the drummer. He also secures the talents of backing vocalists Imelda, Natalie, and Bernie, collectively known as the Commitmentettes. Finally, Joey the Lips Fagan joins as the trumpet player, despite his balding appearance and middle-aged status, making him the only seasoned musician in the group, having played professionally at a relatively high level. Joey takes on the role of instructing the rest of the group, even though they possess minimal knowledge of how to play their instruments, let alone function as a cohesive band. While Deco boasts undeniable talent, his irksome personality becomes a growing issue. A discord between the drummer, Billy, and Deco emerges, leading to Billy's departure from the band. Micah Wallace, previously serving as the band's bouncer during live performances, steps in as the new drummer, proving to be a much better fit. As the band gradually starts to synchronize and receives warmer responses from local audiences, courtesy of Joey's musical guidance, Jimmy begins to recalibrate his aspirations for The Commitments. Initially harboring ambitions of taking the entire country by storm and igniting a soul music craze in Ireland, he begins to narrow his vision to focus solely on Dublin. This shift in perspective proves pivotal as the band starts building a solid reputation on the city's music scene. Their live shows grow increasingly popular, with packed venues becoming the norm. As the band members become more proficient with their instruments and accustomed to performing together, their fan base expands. Despite his age, Joey becomes a beloved figure among the crowd due to his exceptional skills and charming personality. He also becomes the object of affection for the Commitmentettes, engaging in a romance with Imelda, which the rest of the band finds disruptive and vexing. Imelda's feelings for Joey appear more profound than his feelings for her. Simultaneously, Deco starts to captivate the attention of fans. As the band's frontman, he serves as its face and personality, garnering the lion's share of the spotlight. Believing himself to be the band's most crucial member, he exhibits an amplified version of the traits that had previously driven Billy Mooney away, irking the rest of the band. Meanwhile, Jimmy, diligently fulfilling his role as the band's manager, secures the opportunity to record a single with a professional producer and secures a record deal for distribution. Before the band's dreams can fully materialize, a series of unfortunate events sends everything spiraling out of control. A fight breaks out among the band members when Joey is spotted kissing Imelda just before a performance. Deco's already problematic attitude exacerbates the situation, ultimately leading to the band's disintegration. Imelda drops a bombshell on Joey, revealing that she's pregnant. Shocked and overwhelmed, Joey abruptly flees to America, leaving behind a devastated and embarrassed Imelda. However, Imelda later discloses that she wasn't actually pregnant. Her false claim was an attempt to secure Joey's attention. In the aftermath, Jimmy regroups with Derek, Outspan, and Micah, forming a new band that embraces a fusion of country western music with a punk twist. Their plan includes recruiting additional members as they progress. There's a subtle implication that this new endeavor may evolve into a sequel to The Commitments, potentially involving many of the same individuals, though likely excluding Deco and Joey. Roddy Doyle's The Commitments, 1987, predominantly unfolds through dialogues, chronicling the formation, brief ascendancy, and ultimate downfall of a band in 1980s Dublin striving to introduce soul music to Ireland. Outspan and Derek approach the local audiophile, Jimmy Rabbitte, to manage their nascent band, and which has only existed for 3 days. A third member, Ray, remains unaware of this decision initially, as he's occupied in the bathroom. The band grapples with a lack of musical knowledge and internal disputes over their musical direction, with Outspan and Derek strongly disapproving of Ray's taste. Jimmy, however, accepts the challenge of transforming them into a cohesive band. He advises them to discard their attempts at covering art school songs and focus instead on the fundamental themes of sex and politics, emphasizing what he perceives as soul music. When formally offered the role of their manager, Jimmy takes on the responsibility. His initial actions include relieving Ray of his duties and renaming the group The Commitments, following the tradition of great band names beginning with the. To complete the ensemble, Jimmy recruits a local man known as Declan Cuff, referred to as Deco, to serve as the band's vocalist. During a band meeting where Deco is introduced to Outspan and Derek, Jimmy outlines his vision for the band, emphasizing the need to recruit additional musicians to realize their potential. He emphasizes the importance of various instruments like drums, saxophone, trumpet, and keyboards. Jimmy has already placed an advertisement in the newspaper and requires each band member to contribute to cover the costs. Jimmy takes on the role of assembling the band, meticulously handpicking each member to fit his vision. The new additions include James Clifford as the keyboardist, Dean Fay to handle the saxophone, Billy Mooney assigned to the drums, and a trio of backing vocalists known collectively as the Commitmentettes, comprising Imelda, Natalie, and Bernie. Finally, Jimmy secures Joey the Lips Fagan as the trumpet player. Joey, considerably older than the rest of the group, stands out as the only true professional musician among them, boasting a high level of experience. Joey takes on the task of training the other band members, who initially possess little knowledge of how to play their respective instruments, let alone function effectively as a band. While Deco exhibits undeniable talent, his personality tends to rub people the wrong way. Tensions flare between the drummer, Billy, and Deco, ultimately leading to Billy's departure from the band. Micah Wallace, who had previously served as the band's bouncer during live performances, steps in as the new drummer, proving to be a much better fit for the group. As the band gradually coalesces, thanks in part to Joey's musical guidance, their live performances begin to garner a warmer response from local audiences. Jimmy, however, begins to revise his ambitious goals for The Commitments. Initially envisioning a nationwide musical revolution and the popularization of soul music across Ireland, he shifts his focus toward Dublin. This more localized approach pays off, as the band starts to establish a genuine reputation within the city's music circuit. Their live shows become packed events, and as the band becomes increasingly proficient with their instruments and accustomed to performing together, their fan base continues to expand. Despite Joey's age, he becomes a beloved figure among the crowds, admired for both his musical prowess and engaging personality. As events unfold, Joey becomes a magnet for the Commitmentettes, sparking a passionate affair with Imelda that doesn't sit well with the rest of the band. His romantic involvement with Imelda disrupts the group dynamics and grows increasingly bothersome to the other members. It becomes evident that Imelda harbors stronger feelings for Joey than he does for her. Simultaneously, Deco begins to captivate the fans as the band's frontman, taking center stage both in terms of appearance and personality. He basks in the adoration, gradually developing an inflated sense of self-importance within the band. This shift in attitude exacerbates the tensions, and his behavior starts to grate on the nerves of his fellow bandmates, ultimately leading to Billy Mooney's departure from the group. Meanwhile, Jimmy, fully engrossed in his role as the band's manager, successfully secures the opportunity to record a single with a professional producer and secures a record deal for distribution. However, before these plans can come to fruition, chaos ensues within the band. Joey is caught sharing a kiss with Imelda just before a performance, triggering a heated altercation among the members. Deco's exacerbating attitude further worsens the situation, eventually resulting in the band's disintegration. Amid the turmoil, Imelda informs Joey that she's pregnant, prompting him to hastily flee to America, leaving behind a saddened and humiliated Imelda. Later, she confesses that her claim of pregnancy was a ploy to garner Joey's attention, adding to her emotional distress. In the aftermath, Jimmy regroups with Derek, Outspan, and Micah to form a new band with a unique focus on country western music infused with a punk twist. Their plan includes recruiting additional members as they move forward. There is a subtle implication that this new musical endeavor may eventually evolve into a sequel to The Commitments, potentially featuring some of the same individuals, although Deco and Joey are unlikely to be part of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.